Good evening. In my 30 or so years of international mountaineering, I've been fortunate enough to take part in many multi-week, multi-month expeditions across the world. But to climb a mountain, you don't always have to commit such a long time. Some peaks you can climb in a single day. And back in 2015, I was fortunate enough to climb in the Lyngen Alps in Norway and summit, and I do apologise to my Norwegian friends for my hideous pronunciation here, Goalsevarri. She's not tall, less than 1,500 metres high, sits right next to a town with a car park at the bottom and overlooks the fjord, but she's white and beautiful and surrounded by forests and just pristine. A few flowers were poking out from the edge of the snow, and though the town sat below us, it was silent on the peak, and I could sit enjoying that silence. I wonder how many of us have been able to understand a love that does not require words. Those moments when we can both sit together, hand in hand, arm in arm, and not have to say a word, because our love is truly engulfed in peace. I said very little that day, purely enjoying the peak itself, walking along the ridge, summiting, taking in the magnificent views, and quietly walking down to the base. It was a truly peaceful, magical day out. To peace. And so, this is my love letter to Goalsevarri. Dearest G, when I first approached you, the forest parted and your incredible figure stood alone before me. You were tall and slim, with sweeping curves which ached to be held. Perhaps I'm being a little forward, but I do like a silhouette which sweeps like the sides of an hourglass. At first you looked close, but it took hours for me to finally work my way towards you. I wanted to be quiet, unnoticed, and arrive with a minimum of pomp and ceremony. I'm a reserved man, and not one for making startling entrances. Your slopes were deep and sugary, running with crystal clear streams and resonating with a deep emptiness. You wore the most beautiful white dress, decorated with delicate Arctic flowers. Your purity was rare and enchanting in such a polluted and celebrity-laden world. We met silently, transfixed upon each other's gaze. Your eyes were deeper than the turquoise fjord you overlook and more azure than the skies above. Your Nordic charm held me spellbound. The air was still. Silence surrounded us. We were at one. Our embrace was long, intimate, and disturbed only by the sound of my beating heart. The moment I felt your hourglass curves with my own hands, you engulfed me with your spirit. We sat together with not a word passing between us, as exchanging glances and smiles was food enough for our hearts. Clouds flew by, beams of sunlight lit up the islands below, and a freshening breeze began running through my hair. I wonder if it was your invisible hands caressing me. There may be taller and more dramatic peaks around you, but none have your charm, your piety, or your awe. I feel as I write this letter that all my words fall helpless in describing the time we shared. I was in no rush to leave, as the sun around you never sets, but eventually I had to descend. I felt your curves for the last time before going down the last slope, stealing a glance now and again as the final distance grew between us. I understand you often receive callers, and one felt shocked that he wasn't the first to be there. I do hope that hasn't disturbed you. You stand out a mile and you must attract many, many suitors. When I returned home, I discovered I'd been given the incorrect name for you. I do apologise if I've caused any offence. Whatever your name, it means little to me, as it cannot and will not override the seeds of enchantment that you have sown within my heart. Good night.